Most exciting destination in all of northern Wisconsin. LCO Casino Lodge and Convention Center, Hayward. LCO.
Hello, I'm Kimberly, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Navy News Update. It's Friday, November 10th, and many of the stories you hear here can be found at IndianCountryTV.com. And here's the news for today from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Hundreds of artifacts have been uncovered after Hurricane Irma uprooted trees on a Native American preserve on South Florida's Marco Island in September. The items once belonged to the extinct Calusa tribe, which lived in the island between 700 and 1200 AD. Archaeologists have removed 200 artifacts from the preserve, including tools, glass, pottery, and shells. The objects have been transported to the Marco Island Historical Museum, where they will be studied and prepared for display or loan to other institutions. With Veterans Day upon us and the celebration of Native American Heritage Month around the country, I'd like to take this opportunity to honor Native American veterans. During times of war, secure communications can mean the difference between life and death, victory and defeat. In World War I and World War II, the United States military relied on a unique series of codes to keep its messages safe from the enemy. These codes weren't based on cutting-edge technology or complex mathematical equations. Finding their origins in Native American languages, these codes were spoken by a brave group of men recruited from tribal communities across the country. Those men became known as the Code Talkers. Choctaw Code Talkers in France during World War I used their tribal languages to transmit messages by telephone. Though not used extensively, the actions of these men confused the Germans and helped win several battles in France. When the United States entered World War II, the military again called on Native Americans to be code talkers. For the U.S. Marine Corps, the Navajo language quickly became the answer. Other branches of the military recruited Native Americans from the Assiniboine, Cherokee, Cheyenne, Chippewa, Choctaw, Comanche, Cree, Crow, Hopi, Kiowa, Menominee, Meskwaki, Misoga, Muskogee, Osage, Pawnee, Sac and Fox, Seminole, and Sioux tribes to create similar military codes based on their own languages. Despite earning the respect of their fellow soldiers and Marines, Code Talkers received no recognition on the home front. Their codes and actions remained classified until 1968. As their role in the war became better known, Code Talkers have been celebrated in movies and television shows, and many have been awarded medals from the President and Congress. Army First Lieutenant Jack Montgomery was one of 5 Native Americans who earned the Medal of Honor. A Cherokee from Oklahoma, Montgomery grew up during the Roaring '20s and the Great Depression. He made his mark on the world during World War II, when he killed nearly a dozen enemy soldiers and took many more as prisoners in just a few hours, all by himself. Montgomery was 20 when he joined the Oklahoma Army National Guard in 1937. He was eventually called up to active duty and joined the 180th Regiment 45th Infantry Division, Thunderbirds. In all, Montgomery single-handedly took 32 prisoners, killed 11 enemy fighters, and injured countless more. Because of his bravery and selflessness that day in February 1944, he was awarded the Medal of Honor on January 15, 1945. Montgomery went to the same high school as another Medal of Honor recipient, Ernest Childers. They both graduated from Chillicothe Indian Agricultural School in Chillicothe, Oklahoma. They were 2 of only 5 Native Americans to receive the Medal of Honor during the 20th century. In 1937, Childers joined the Oklahoma Army National Guard and was assigned to the 180th Infantry Regiment, 45th Infantry Division. After the U.S. entry into World War II, he was sent to Europe, and by September 22, 1943, he was a second lieutenant serving with 45th Infantry Division, 180th Infantry Regiment in Italy. On that day at Oliveto, he single-handedly killed 2 enemy snipers, attacked 2 machine gun nests, and captured an artillery observer. For these actions, he was awarded the Medal of Honor 7 months later, on April 8, 1944. He was the first Native American to earn the medal since the Indian Wars of the 19th century. The Mashpee Wampanoag, whose ancestors hosted the first Thanksgiving with the Pilgrims in 1621, will host a modern-day Thanksgiving Unity reception at the Massachusetts State House in an effort to promote peace and unity for all Americans. Mashpee Wampanoag Tribal Council Chairman Cedric Cromwell said, "There is so much hate and divisiveness engulfing the country, and as a direct descendant of the first Americans, we wanted to host a 21st century Thanksgiving reception to remind the world that the only path to peace and prosperity is one that includes all people." The reception will be Monday, November 13th at 11 a.m. inside the State House, Great Hall. Robbie Romero has partnered with Pledge Music in support of the Born on the Res music campaign to #Honor 1851 Treaty. The single drops this month to coincide with Native American Heritage Month. Romero stated that from Wounded Knee to Standing Rock, the Born on the Res music campaign is a poetic journey through history honoring our fight for freedom and cultural survival. Romero brings together some of the industry's most eminent Grammy-winning musicians, producers, and engineers for their recording at Capitol Records. Beginning with the 1851 Fort Laramie Treaty, the campaign challenges the United States and its Congress to uphold and honor at least one of the more than 500 treaties made with Native American nations on the trail of broken treaties. 100% of the profits from the single and associated merchandise benefits a legal defense offense committee to support water protectors on the front lines of the movement. For more information, you can check out RobbieRomero.com. And that's another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and have a grand day.